unit, he can now see this area. They are able to fire up. Crap. Fire up here. Maybe. There you go. And they can fire up against you, but high ground is a huge advantage in Starcraft, so it's nice defensive position. Something else you can think about. And a siege tank push is simply, basically, siege tanks are inherently a good defensive unit, but they're also a good offensive unit too, obviously, because of their excellent damage and an ability to listen. What's up with these tanks? Interesting. Okay, so here's a good learning point. I have made a choke point. Despite units being able to get through here, my siege tanks cannot get through here. This place is too big, and I believe the reason why is because based on the grid which this game is built, this is the kind of grid, right? You can see it kind of moving to right here. The grid was, show you that again, to right here. And then the barracks, of course, goes right here too. So these are two diagonals. Units can move through buildings diagonally. So for example, if you have a supply depot here, and you have one here, you can imagine that would be two built. These two buildings, small units can get through that, but large units cannot. And this is an example I just learned in real time. That's neat. Okay, so I'm going to put these tanks in here. And basically a siege tank push is simply when you push with siege tanks, right? But siege tanks have a minimum range, meaning they can't fire when things get too close to them while in siege mode, but they are pretty strong in tank mode. But you have siege tank mode, if they kind of deploy, you move your units up, you keep your units in front of them, and you have this kind of nasty combo of long-range siege tank action, shelling out in long distances. You can kind of see the range there. Actually, that's the tower, but whatever. There's the range of the siege tank. And these units are kind of defending the siege tanks, and you're kind of dancing around, trying to block the Zerglings, block the Zealots that try to come up and try to get you. Good for 2-on-2s. You know, you have different units that come up and block in one sense, and a siege tank shell at distances. Kind of cool synergy from your allies, etc. So, anyway, those are some of the strategies we wanted to go over. Hopefully this will help out some people. I know this is basic, but this is sort of thing that people need to understand, kind of learn, because you kind of fiddle around for weeks and months trying to figure out the little things. So yeah, so it's on the way you build your base, on the way you approach your enemy. Keep in mind that Terran has ranged units. Another good thing to say that once your minerals run out, it's a good place to build tech buildings, a good place to build extra supply depots. So yeah, and the only thing I really didn't cover was air combat, or some air things. This is an island base over here. Can be sometimes nice to get because it's secluded and it's harder to get to, but it's also going to be harder to defend when you're fighting something like Broodlords, which is the Zerg artillery, firing from air to ground. So anyway, a lot of stuff to cover. Hopefully this cleared up some things. I'm trying to think before I quit this video if there's anything else I want to say that would fit this video. I don't think there is. What is that siren? I'm wigging out. Oh, it's the fusion core. I think that's it. The only thing I think of is right here I have two armories. The reason, and it's a tech building. The reason why I would build two armories is because there's a lot of upgrades in this armory. Right, so I have level 1 and level vehicle armor plating, as it's called, and ship plating. But let's say I want to get level 1 vehicle weapons and ship weapons, right? So I can have one armory research ship weapons. I can queue up the second weapon so that it comes up when this one's done. This one will begin, but I can also have the second armory upgraded to the other weapon at the same time. So that's another trick you can do to kind of move your upgrades quicker. Keep in mind, though, this is an unrealistic amount. I'm at 21,000 crystal. That's a totally unrealistic amount for any style of play, unless you're playing some kind of weird use map settings, which is like custom maps and stuff. But so you can do this sort of thing. I would say that for casual play, try not to float above $1,000 or $2,000, 2,000 minerals. Pro play, they try to keep it around 400, and the reason why they do that is because 400 is probably the most expensive thing you could buy, which is a command center, maybe a battle cruiser. How much does that cost? 400, yeah. So unless they typically try to keep their money down as low as possible, because money in your bank is not helping on the battlefield, right? Like money in your bank is just sitting there, but money in the form of units or structures or whatever, that is actually helping you because it's on the game and it's in the game and it's actually doing some work. So yeah, there's that sort of thing. Kind of try to be worried about it if you can. Another trick with workers, actually I should show this while I'm here, is let's say your workers are under attack. I'm in this base, right? That's a crappy base. Whatever, let's just say this base is under attack. Oh my gosh, there's everywhere and I can't get out of the way. And instead of take your workers, don't click on the ground. They're still working, right? Don't click on the ground. Click on another mineral patch. What the workers will do is they will run through enemies. They will literally go through them. There's no way to stop them. They just kind of go right through enemies and stuff. It's the quickest way to get your workers out of danger. Another trick you can do, so it's harder to block harder to block workers that way. Only workers can do that, to my knowledge. Let's see, there was one more thing I wanted to say. Oh yes, the reactors. What is this thing? I'll get rid of that. It's annoying me. Ah, screw, it's going to stay there. Just ignore this turret right here. Okay, so there's two different types of add-ons for Terran buildings. Number one is the reactor. Number two is the tech lab. Now, the reactor is simply a thing which gives you an additional build queue. So you can see a barracks without it. You can train a Marine, train two Marines, right? So this guy trains and then this guy trains, right? That's simple. So you have this one. I click Marine twice, A for the hotkey. It goes into two different queues, so I can get two Marines out of the same barracks. If I hit Marine two more times, this guy will move to this. Marine 3 will move to Marine 1 when he's done. Marine 4 move to Marine 2. I can go 2 to whatever. I can keep queuing up units that way. And that's what the reactor does. That's the whole function of it. The tech lab gives upgrades specific to that building. So, for example, I already got two of them. This is a Reaper upgrade, right? Because it's attached to the barracks. The tech lab also unlocks additional units. So I can't build the Marauder, the Reaper, or the Ghost without a reactor attached to the barracks I'm trying to train them from. So, and of course, the tech lab also gives additional upgrades. But what's neat about these units is you can also lift off your buildings. So L is lift off. I'm going to move this guy over here. And this is my factory, right? I'm going to move him over here. I can put the factory. These are interchangeable. So now a factory, first of all, a factory by itself says the factory can produce Helloins, I believe. You can produce Helloins, you can create a tech lab or whatever, but if you don't need this tech lab anymore, for the barracks, you can put a factory down there, and it works the same way. And now it doesn't have infantry upgrades anymore, it has upgrades corresponding to this building, which of course are vehicle upgrades. I got the siege tank one, and this one called the Infernal Pre-Igniter for the Helloins, different upgrades. So they're interchangeable. I can also do it with my Starport. So yeah, it's interesting, and you can also do that with the reactor also. So I move my Starport off of the tech lab, I can move him on there, into the reactor, move my barracks onto this tech lab, my barracks onto this tech lab, and now that I had two tech labs for my barracks, I just kind of switched it around. Now I can produce Vikings, I believe. Vikings or medevacs twice as fast to the reactor, right? They're making two, works the same way as the Marines, and now I can produce, I have two tech labs. I think it's a tech lab. It's not attached to the barracks, right? What's going on here? I didn't land it right. Wonk, there we go. Right, so now I can produce Marauders out of these two barracks, because I have two tech labs. So that's another interchangeable thing you can do, kind of save some money, save some time. It's kind of tricky, but you can do it. So anyway, yeah, those are the things I wanted to go over for Terran. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys learned something, and I will see you guys on the battlefield.